Hello. We are in June. And yes, I'm a few days late. Sorry. Love you. Thank you. Bye. But hello. Okay, so we're still in Gemini season. All right. When I'm doing this, it's actually June 9th. So you'll probably get this on June 10th. And thank you to all of you who are like, hey, you're still doing this, right? Like I still want to get your forecast and you are still gonna post it. And I was like, thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you out there who are watching and who really resonate with, or it's just like entertaining. I don't know. Whatever you like about it, I'm just really grateful. So thank you so much. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm doing this new thing where I am I'm spending more time with the calendar before I do the broadcast because there was my Gemini is my ascendant. Okay. So sometimes we be winging it. Okay. Like, I'm not going to lie to you and say, oh, well, I have this whole, you know, team who is creating and producing and scripting and editing and doing all of this for the podcast. It's just me. Okay. So when it comes to all the moving pieces, which is why I'm a great coach and which is why I coach people on exactly this, how to juggle all the parts, all the things, and have it still feel like it's authentic, it's what it is, which is why I was like, you know what? I'm just going to show you kind of like this is my office, right? I'm an artist, right? So I've got like everything here with me, with you today. And we are going to talk about how do we stay consistent with that energy, with our flow, okay? Because we about to be in our daddy energy, okay? Just we need that like I be your own daddy sort of situation. I can provide, I can survive, I can provide. You know what I mean? Because I'm starting to get some, well, anyone who could look at the state of the world right now can feel a little bit like there's moments of prep zone, right? Of like we need to prep, right? Like what needs to just take care of the things that need to be taken care of, right? That's what I kind of mean with the daddy energy. It's the like, all right, everybody get in line and let's check the things off the checklist and let's get to work and let's be productive and let's, do the whole thing and complete it and do a good job, right? So because it on this side of the planet in the United States, it is Father's Day this coming month in June. This month in June. Well, let's be real. So I was really sensing into that. I was like, okay, that's really like what are we gonna do? So I really sat with I sat with the calendar, and if you guys watch when I just kind of like you get to see me with just my hands and me writing down like this is like this this is it. This is the forecast, okay? So I like go into the zone and I look at where everything is. I'm sensing into myself, the present moment. I am also so grounded, best that I can be. I went outside today. I actually did a wonderful podcast episode with my friend, and you will see that episode soon, actually, because I'm going to start having people as guests because there's so many people that are out in the world doing the thing with their gifts and like, it's why we like watching YouTube. It's like why we like watching different influencers or different TV shows or like the scrollers, right? Like, oh, where's that hit? Where's that dopamine of that girl who talks about astrology randomly and like, I don't know, maybe it does something for you, right? Or like where, and that's what I was feeling when people were like, hey, it's June 8th. Where's your episode? I want to listen to it. And I was like, thank you, love you. Yes. I am going to do it because there was a part of me that felt a little in the overwhelm, right, of this Gemini season. There's a lot going on, a lot of moving plates. You have to figure out what's the priority. If you also are a one man show, one woman show over there, one them show, I feel you. Right? Like you kind of be doing it at all. And that's also the gift. So that is a lot of the Gemini energy. So Gemini energy, because it's June. We be in Gemini season. And Gemini was like, let's kind of have like a heart to heart, you know? It's not that, Geminis are deep, right? The Gemini energy. They're the spring into summer babies. They're the ones who prepare us for summer. They're like, "Oh my God, isn't this so great? Let's like it got warm." Like Taurus was like, "Okay, I'm gonna hand the mic to Gemini season," right? And if we think about it in like agricultural or seasonal, right? Or a cycle, we're going from spring into summer. That's a transition. So Gemini is a mutable sign, which means mutable. It's flexible, it's adaptable, it's able to change, right? So sometimes during this time, there's changes that are happening because we're going from spring to summer, right? I live in California. I am preparing for a very hot summer. Like I'm aware that this is around the time where Californians are like depressed because anyone else on the other side of the country, they're like, the sun finally came out. Oh my gosh, the winter was crazy. And like it just feels so good to go from dead winter, right? Of like, oh my God, it's freezing, frigid. And then it starts to thaw out. And then like these bright skies of these bright blues. And like, in California, depending on where you live, I'm more central coast now. So there's the marine layer. There's a lot of gray days back to back, back to back, back to back, back to back. It's called June gloom. Okay. Or May gray. And so it's a different kind of winter when it comes to California. So I'm like literally wearing a sweater and it's June, right? So you could be in like Tennessee and you're literally like, girl, it's hot as balls out here. How are you wearing a sweater? Well, we're all on different cycles in a way. So my winter feeling isn't quite over because in California, it goes from like, okay, like it's kind of like breezy. It's kind of cool out. Now that I'm like a little higher up in the Central Coast, like, ooh, bird. Ooh, it's not quite like warm yet. And then you get the sun, and then it's like fucking hot, right? And then you're like, oh my God, it's summer. The spring is this beautiful in between place that the flowers show us that it's happening, right? So in California, for me, maybe I don't get the blue skies all the time when it comes to the spring, but the birds, they be, when the sun's out, they definitely be chirping. But when it's gray, it's quiet and it's kind of like a void. And when we're in a void, interesting wording right there, avoid, we avoid, right? Distractions. So we also have some Gemini energy of like, all right, take a look at your distractions, right? What do you want to get done this summer? Because I wrote down summer body, right? Because we are in that Saturn and Aries energy, which is more physicality, more vitality, more life force energy. That's why I was like, we're going to be your own daddy, like, you know, whatever that means, right? It's like so stereotypical of like instead of being like a sugar baby, like you be the sugar daddy to you, right? Which just what does that mean, right? Maybe that just means taking care of you. Are you taking care of you? Are there places within your life that you're like, I need to give myself some daddy energy in this area of my life, right? And funny enough, the card that popped out at the very end, because as I was doing it, and maybe I'll do this next time too, I'll like talk to you and tell you like what's actually going down when I'm spending time with the planets and the transitions of the energies and kind of how I prepare for these episodes. So the last card that came out that I didn't look at until the very end was financial discipline. Oh my God. Cute. I didn't even know that I matched it. Look at that. The universe works in mysterious ways. But that's like for real, right? Like, how are you taking care of yourself? Are you talking to me? I know, I know. I've been I've been on that Amazon world. I stopped that Prime. I have been plugging the holes of like, okay, we going into building wealth, right? So healthy, wealthy, wealthy, healthy. That means you make decisions, right? So for me personally, I'm kind of like, I've been detoxing my life, right? I'm like selling a bunch of stuff, right? I have moved from a life is changing moment for myself into like, all right, well, I don't want to like pollute the earth or pollute other things with all of my changes, right? Sometimes change can feel like grief can come up or um what we would label, right, as negative emotions. They're all good actually, but maybe it just doesn't feel good inside. Negative meaning we don't want to hold on to that. That's meant for us to transmute into something, alchemize into something. When it comes to me, I always go to art. That's why I'm always making something, literally. But that is the daddy energy of myself going, hey, you need to like put all of this on a paper, right? You know, you need to put all of this feeling in a painting. You need to get this maybe negative emotion out of you and into a song. You need to sing, right? So there was a lot of very much like poetic or like creative energy. You know, if you're a writer, if you're, you know, a musician, you know, someone who has who needs another tool, right? When it comes to their creative expression, it just feels like an opening right now. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot to write about. There's a lot to be with, but how can we be with it in a way that is bringing hope and resilience into the frame, into the picture, right? So I'm just going to kind of like go through a few dates because it's great. I want to know what is helpful to all of you. So I hear when I kind of just like talk to you and just kind of give you the vibes, it's super helpful. And then of course, there's like, you know, different astrology terms that we're learning along the conversation. So those of you who are really interested and like, I want to learn more about, you know, this energy, for example, Gemini energy, very much in the room right now. Like this entire 13 minutes has been hanging out with Gemini. Okay. Like just Gemini was like, okay, just get the mic and just like, we're just gonna chit chat and talk and it's gonna be like blah 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 and like, you know, but it's commerce, right? It's transactions. Ding ding ching 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 ching. You know, it's like the longer you sit here and listen to me, right? It's like my watch time goes up and I'm like, okay, great. What I'm saying is resonating with someone, right? Or it's like interesting. If you see it as like a if Gemini were to be like, okay, like, you know, when it comes to transactional things, right? Where are you budgeting things that maybe feel transactional or it actually is, right? So, for example, the thing just that just came in is like, well, you know, there is a there's a lot going on in the world that our money, right? Like our wealth is funding. Are there places in your financial discipline or in your places that you can actually um, subtract or transition or um, maybe like for example, if the thing that you want from Amazon, right? I always check my local bookstores before I even go to an Amazon situation. I go, okay, let me find the local person, right? I'm going to go through the local stuff. I'm going to find my local bookstore and I'm going to go, okay, and I'm going to, you know, see if they have the book and whatever and, you know, whatever. If it doesn't work out and they can't get that book to me, then I'll go, okay, fine. I'll go to the bigger corporation, you know, to get, you know, the book. And some people, you know, choose Amazon, right? Because their prices are pretty good and, you know, you get it at a certain amount of time, whatever. But if you check that local spot first and you recognize, wait, my my money, my like wealthy, you know, daddy, I'm taking care of myself, but also I take care of my community, right? Like I actually also want to build my community, build within the local artists or musicians or craftsmen or you know, anything out there that actually, a, a, um, a tarot reader, right? Like if you know, oh, like I can, if I do that every once in a while with like a healer that you love, right? You budget it in, but you know where that money's going. You know where the money's going, right? The podcast episode that is with the guest, we talked a lot about like follow the money, right? So maybe that's also why my uh wealthy daddy energy is just like definitely here in my Gemini because it's also money is currency, right? And currency, a current, flow, a flow, follow where the money is, right? And also know you have power and control to like change the game, right? So, and I also pulled this card, which is the 10 of wands. Yeah, the 10 of wands, which is look at those are the hips, okay? If you know anything, hip mobility, hips in general, they store a lot of our money wounds, right? We rely so much on our hips and we walk, 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 walk. It's where we put our money in our pockets, right? Right at our hips, right? And we all know when like our hip flexors are sore and everything, oh man, it's irritating. It actually like can make people feel upset, irritated, just like frustrated. So there's some like resentment or anger that can also be living in that area, in the hip area. So because it's a 10, really, I see it as a one, which is like a full circle. It's like, all right, just scan through your life, right? Real quick and go, okay, where am I actually? Where could we could probably stop doing that, or we could like reroute that actually, and then we could make more money going this way, right? Because then we're less in our resentment or in our anger in a way that's like not helping or feels a bit more like burning out. Does anyone out there feel like burning out? Like so so, we're bouncing around here, but I don't know, Gemini is just like, let's just do this way. And I'm really just going with it. Because I sat with the calendar for like 30 minutes. So I'm trying to really decide if I just tell you dates or if I just keep talking to you like this and tell you really what I wrote down. So then you know what's going on. Yeah, in the next like 10 minutes. Okay. So we're at the ninth right now. So I'm just gonna, if this starts to be like a lot of talk about like where dates are and whatever, I'm not predicting anything. I'm not telling you anything's gonna happen on these dates. Like, I'm just telling you these planets are entering a different constellation at these times, right? And I find it fun to follow astrology in a way to track time. So I'm not pulled into the like craziness of time warp out there. I don't know if you have felt like, wow, time is going like really fast, really slow. I'm losing track of time. Ladies, if like, if you have your period and you keep like being surprised by your own body and you're like, I'm not tracking my own self, right? Like things are just happening. So when people are in chaos, um, the power and control is kind of hoping that you like kind of get swept up in it, right? That you don't really track anything. You're kind of always a little distracted and you're kind of like always just missing it or oh, it pops up and kind of keeping you busy up here real quick, real quick, real quick. Does that sound like anything? Where's my phone? Like, does that sound like anything? People who are all up in here, like, look at that, right? Look at that. Gemini energy is also like closest to the sun, right? So, how can we also bring some space? Because we're about to go in Cancer season. In Cancer season, not only is it going to feel hot, it's going to be summer. Like, it's going to feel like summer. I'm not sure when it's going to feel like summer, but when it's going to feel like summer, it's going to feel like summer. It's going to be real hot. So, that means water. One word. It starts with a W. And when I started thinking about that, just like it's common sense, right? Oh, it's going to be, the planets are telling me it's going to be summer, right? Interesting. Clearly we know this cycle is happening. So if the planets are like, yeah, and isn't that funny that Cancer is a water sign? Huh, interesting. So your pureness, right? The pure water. You want to drink pure water. You don't want to drink water that's been poisoned. So this Cancer season is going to be about who's who's the poison in your life, or what's the poison like, or toxic job, person, place, thing, habit. Look at yourself clearly too. Like it's not just always about the other person. Like look within your space and your relationships, right? Where are we? Where is it toxic? Just just there. Hmm. Where where in my, like, are we around anything that may be toxic? Right? We just learned that people who live very close to golf courses, apparently they're being exposed to really toxic things that affect their life. So just check in with yourself as to like how are you taking care of your body, right? And I wrote down protect water like you would a closest family member, like you would like your closest family, you know, because that's literally what we're made up of. Like we need that. And I don't know, these people who are, we're starting to get into some hot territory when it comes to the political environment, right? So we're starting to feel the heat, and Americans are going to pay the price. And it feels unfair when it's not exactly what we're all signing up for. But if we have kind of no choice until something's done or something happens, right? What can I do when I feel out of control or like I don't have the power, right? Instead of feeling powerless about the situation, I want you to take care of yourself, right? And go, well, I'm not going to let them get my health, right? I'm going to take care of my body. I'm not going to give my health, my body to some industry that's toxic, right? Because they actually um they're profiting right now. Who's profiting within toxic environments? Ooh, ooh, that daddy energy was like, mm-hmm, right? Because you have the power, right? You put your money where your mouth is. Okay? Like just you're either in or you're out, right? Gemini energy is very much like we see you. Are you go are we see you. We see you. So there's a lot of exposing things right now that's happening. And some people just like it's very confronting. It's very confronting for everyone, to be quite honest. I think we're all in this confronting energy. And with Mars and Jupiter entering Cancer before Cancer season, it's just giving us we're like up slowly approaching a hot summer, and we're going to have a little bit of deja vu because it's going to feel like 2020, right? And and when I say that, it's literally it's just like when something is not quite completed, or there's an ignite of some sort that just pushes, 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 and then it's like, huh, I remember now. I remember. There's gonna be a part of us that comes back online that's kind of been fucked with since 2020. And we've kind of been in a really interesting space because that was 5 years ago, right? 5 years ago. We just we just entered a new Saturn in Aries, right? So Saturn in Aries is like for these next 2.5 years, 2.5, 3 years. And then 2020 is looking at us being like, yo, look at how crazy life has been since then. Whoa, let's have a quick 5 year reflection before we go on to the next hand, right? Like, this is how people build wealth. This is how we have goals, right? So let's just take a moment. And if you're like, I wasn't even planning things like in 2020, that's okay. We're doing it now, right? So we're having a moment with history going, huh, well, that changed everything. And now we're here in 2025. And then we look forward to 3 years from now, 2028. Okay. What I'm doing now with my life, with my energy, is what I do. That future that's there for me and that's rooting for me, I can hear you, right? Because we cannot change the past. We can't. We can't. The past is the past. That's why it's called history. It's a story that is done, that ended, that had endings, right? Now, this story over here hasn't really been written. Like, it's actually being written in real time here. Cool. Okay. So we got that power and control back, right? Because we do have some Virgo energy that comes into play in the 1 to 3rd week. Okay. So right now, I kind of like caught you up as to like what's going on. And then if I'm like, okay, here's like some dates. We have Mars entering Virgo on the 17th, and we need details. So whatever is happening this week, we need some details. We need the numbers. We need the analytics. We need the details. Can you provide that for us? Thank you so much. We've got Juneteenth on the 19th. And that is a day. If you're a person of color, have that day be for you. Say your prayers, do your thing. That's your day. Don't allow all this distraction, all these other things to distort that moment that you can be with your prayers and your ancestors who are saying, hey, look, that story that hasn't been like solidified yet, because that's the future. And we don't know what the future holds, but we definitely know that at this time in the present moment, we can build something that can have a future. Pretty cool, right? So we stay in that daddy energy. So, what I mean by daddy energy, again, it just means we're just going to be taking care of ourselves and we're just going to be like, listen, what do I like? For me, it's kind of like, I don't know, like, if you do you want to be taken out, do you want to like, have someone just like that holding. It just feels like somebody's holding the thing, right? So if you feel like you need more support, you need more holding, or you need more, vitality, right? Or like maybe power and control, or, are you in power? Are you empowered? Are you being empowered? If you are not, that's a good thing to know because you can change that story to empower you, right? And not become victim to somebody else's agenda or somebody else's power and control that you may not be aware of, but will it just feels like that Mars entering Virgo details, babes, things are showing up. And then we go into summer. Okay. Then it's like, bloop. Gemini's like, you're welcome. Boop. What? And then it's summer. And then the baton is handed to Cancer, and it's like, whoa, this Gemini season was super Gemini. Thank you. Because Jupiter also moved from Gemini to Cancer, because now it's in Cancer, which is today. Today I'm hanging out a lot with Jupiter and Cancer, which really just means be yourself, be in the flow, see what happens, just do your thing. Okay. So when I was talking to Cancer energy, and my moon is in Cancer, okay, hello, Mama Witch energy, and was just very much like, how are your rituals going? How are those routines going? Maybe there's a reason why we like rhythm. All right. So where's the rhythm of your life? Do you want to shift the rhythm? Is it the rhythm that you like? Right? Are we Are we feeling fast? Are we feeling slow? Are we feeling confused? Are we feeling high? Are we feeling low? Are we feeling nothing? Are we feeling everything? Are we feeling, what are we feeling? Because it can happen and change at any moment, right? So if we take care of our inner self, our inner feelings, our emotional centers, we also give ourselves what? That daddy energy, right? It just means I'm not going to be putting somebody else to take care of me, right? That could be financially speaking, that could be inner child speaking, like some people are like, "Oh, great, can you do this work for me?" It's like, "No. No, that's yours. That's your work. No, I will not be babysitting your inner child. No. Here you go." So, then we have, let's see. Man, this energy is so interesting. But I really am just going with it because Cancer just wanted me to like be real with you. And kind of just, some days it feels like things are, this is an ebb and flow sort of situation, right? I just feel like I'm trying so hard not to predict anything because that's not the point. It's about just being with the energy for a little bit of time that we can just bring in some self reflection or some questions that are actually pretty good questions, maybe just a moment with yourself. And I'm really kind of in the background because, a whole story came up in your mind for the past like 20 minutes and you actually have been like writing something else down. You're like, wow, I just feel so like something came to me. Great. Great. Wonderful. Because the sun enters Cancer on the 20th and it's going to get witchy. Okay. I don't know what that means, but I feel it. It feels very witchy, very, very witchy. And we could never forget. I need to go back for a second because there is a full moon coming up like tomorrow. So when you watch this today, it's going to be tomorrow. Sagittarius. Hello, where are your feet? Hello, are you present? Hello. Vesta goes direct in Scorpio, right? So protect your body, protect yourself from the poison, from the toxicity, from those who take advantage of transitional moments, right? Of change and adaptability and destruction and distraction. There are people who profit at a time like now. So if you want your money, if you want your money to go to the place that you want it to go to, all you got to do is pay attention. All you got to do is go, hmm. I'm not all caught up in it. Great. Awesome. I am in my power and I am in control. Great. Awesome. So, where are those rituals going? Are those routines helping you out? We're about to go into the summer, and I know a lot of you have kids. So, your life is about to, you got to share the space with your kids, either at home or like if they go to camps or whatever. But it's just a more fun, uplifting energy when it comes to the summer because people feel like, yeah, I don't got to do work. I'm going to go play all day. We're bringing that daddy energy. Hey, if you got homework to do, do your homework, right? There's time to play, but there's also time to do the work, right? Because if you just stay on rhythm, you'll never be behind. You'll never be behind. So, those historical lessons that you have learned since that time of 2020, we come here to this present moment of now, today, making this story happen in real time, is completely creating this entire awesome, beautiful future of love, of whatever you're really looking for, within your life. That is being written right now. It's written in the stars, right? Well, the stars are dead, actually. The stars are like, by the time you see me, I'm already gone. And then you're like, oh, so the time is written now. All right, awesome. So that gets us ready for that new moon in Cancer on the 25th, okay? Because then I don't know. It just feels like hot and spicy to me because the next day Mercury goes into Leo. So now we are in Cancer Leo energy. It's spicy. So take care of yourself at the end of the month, right? Maybe like, have some fun, let loose. Maybe you have been doing a lot of work and you can give yourself a break. Maybe you have not been doing the work and you're like, okay, let me just like really, buckle down, do the thing so that I really can get back on my pace, right? It's that rhythm. If we just feel into the rhythm of our life, what does that feel like? So, yeah, that's it. And then water is life. Of course, protect your life, protect your water, protect your life force, protect your water. Water is life. We love water. Okay. All of us love water, especially when we live in California and it's going to be really hot. And it's a great match to fire energy when things dry out. Right. So, this is what we're made for. This is who we are. We're ready for this. Whatever this kind of like June kind of feels like to me, it just feels like change, a lot of change, change, cha-change, cha-ching, cha-ching. Change. Change can mean all sorts of things. Okay. So when I did pick up this financial discipline, that's like matching the vibe today, right? Just listen to your inner self. And gosh, I'll see you next month. I don't know. That was it. That was Gemini energy, Gemini into Cancer, and then Cancer being like, okay, let's just talk, right? Let's just talk. Here are some dates. Here's some moons. Here's some Mercury. Here's some Mars. Here's some other things. But let's actually go deeper and let's actually talk about the things that we actually are talking about around here. Okay. So here we are, alchemizing our life. So I'm rooting for you. I know you're rooting for me because that's why you wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, that's why we are here, right? We're rooting for each other. So I'll see you in July, and then this podcast is a year old. So I don't know, I'm gonna plan something really special, and if the really special thing is just me showing up and talking to you, it's all special, right? Because we are just letting ourselves be real in the real, right? So enjoy this vibe. I don't even know what this was, but obviously you can get the details on my Substack. But I'm definitely already feeling the like, we all are hoping for a come down, right? Of like, okay, are things, but it may heat up before we come down from it. So if this is gonna be a hot summer in all sorts of ways, right? We just prepare. Go back to that first point of like, let's prepare and just get the toxic shit out, okay? Then it makes plenty of space. And then you got plenty of space. You're good. You're good. Okay, I'll see you in July. Oh my God. Bye.